everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby.
Today we're talking about Key to the Kingdom from Restoration Games. Now, Key to the Kingdom, if you're watching this, you may have played this. In fact, I bought this game before both of you were born. When I lived in Korea, I bought it off of eBay because this is a very old game, but they took the game and remade it. That's what Restoration Games does. They take old games and they redo them. We played Return to Dark Tower. That was from them, and they've changed games. This is what we call a roll and move game. What does that mean? You
roll dice and move.
It's pretty self-evident there. And in this game, you're trying to get the key to win the game. Most roll and move games I give pretty low reviews to because you just roll a die and see what happens. Is this kind of the same thing? Let's find out. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get one of these characters here. Each character is a different color and has a different special ability. You'll take the matching figure for that character. You'll get a matching die. These are all normal 8-sided dice, 1 through 8. And you're also going to get a set of items. So what you'll do is you'll place all these items face up in front of you. They all say plus or minus various numbers that go from 1 to 4. Like this, and you're ready to go. The goal of the game is to get the key to the kingdom and then to go unlock that. The key is made up of 3 different parts that you're going to be hunting for on the board. On a player's turn, they have 2 options. You're either going to roll your die and move your adventurer that many spaces, or you're going to rest. Now, whenever you roll your die for any reason in this game, whether it's moving or for some other reason, you can use one of your items. You can add or subtract one from the roll. You just flip that item down. So the one action you can do in your turn, which is resting, you're simply going to refresh or turn back over 5 of the items that you have. Other than that, though, you're going to roll and you're going to move around the board. Now, as you move around the board, there are various spaces that you can land on that will do different things. Some spots are called boring spots. They're just nothing. You know, you don't get anything if you land on them. Some spots, when you land on, you'll take the demon die. So there is a demon die in this game. It is an 8-sided die, which has a couple zeros on it, which aren't very useful, but also goes up to 11. So there's only one of these around the board, so you can take it from somebody else. You can even assign it to somebody else when you land on the spot rather than yourself. You can also land on an event space, the space here. When you land on an event space, you're going to draw the top event card and deal with it. There are 3 kinds of event cards. There are encounters, which just, here you can move to a space, adjacent to another hero, refresh 2 items, then discard this card. They just do various things as you go through. There are magic items. You're trying to pick up these magic items. Here you need to roll 8+. Again, you can modify it with your items to get the magic coffee beans. And so there are various magical items in here. The magic coffee beans, when you exhaust this, refresh one of your other items. And it's a plus or minus 2. So it gives you an extra item. And if someone else has the item that you just got, you'll take it from them. And then there are companions. Companions, you'll take this card. You have to get them as a companion. You need to roll higher than this. And then you can use an extra item to modify your rolls. You can use 2 of them. And also, he says, I can help you with the Cyclops, which means if you run across a Cyclops, this character might be useful. There's also spots on the board where you can refresh items, just as if you would rest. And then the main thing that you're going to be doing as you go around the board is you're going to be taking adventures, trying to land on adventure spaces, or most adventure spaces, you just go onto them and you'll stop and do that adventure. There's a whole adventure book. After you play a few times, you won't have to remember what each of the adventure does. But if you land on a whirlpool, you do this. You have to go there. When you get all 3 key pieces, you have to go there. If you land on the snake pit here, everyone rolls a die. This is just one example. If your result is lower than everyone else's roll, move that many space in either direction. Only you can modify your die, though. So it's kind of just a very small little thing. But the main thing about this game is getting those key pieces, and that's done on these adventure areas here. So when you land on the sleeping giant, you'll be going through. Everyone's gonna pause, and you're trying to go through all the space on the sleeping giant, or the really evil swamp, or the icy caves. And when you go on those spots, you have to do something. So for example here, your dice always have to be less than 3 you're going to roll. Of course, you're going to use things to modify that. You also notice that many of the spots on here show pictures. If you happen to have that companion or item, you can just skip that spot, or you can move into that spot for free. If you make it to the end, you get the key piece that it shows. And then the whirlpools themselves, if you land on one of them, instead of you using 3 keys and going to the end game, you can open the board or close the board if it's already open. Now you can see the board is huge, and there's more spots to get key pieces. We have the evil tower, where here you have to keep rolling higher to move up that. We have the broken bridge, where you just need to get even, odd, even, odd. Over here in the living forest, where you call your numbers and get them. There's all different spots and different things that you can land on. Now this is going to continue happening until someone gets the 3 pieces of the key, lands on the whirlpool, then they're going to go to the final board. Now the final board is going to have a bunch of tokens that are placed face down in the different spots here, randomly at the beginning of the game. And so you'll be moving around here at the bottom until you decide to go up. Once you go up, you'll flip over a token or use a token that's already flipped over, and you need to roll that number or higher. If you pass this section, you go to this section. If you pass this section, you go to this one. Each number is progressively harder until you get to the final boss, where you need to roll a 20 or higher, which is pretty impossible. But at that point, you're allowed to use all your items that you have left, realizing that you may have used some of your items to go through these 3 spots. If you fail at any point, you come down here to the bottom, where you can get the demon die or refresh or rest like normal, and then go back up. The first person to get here is the winner. The game comes with a nice plastic insert which holds all the pieces here. And by the way, there's just something fun about putting the key together. But you have a spot for the miniatures, the dice, the different figures here. The rule book, very, very clear on exactly how to do everything. And on the back of the rule book it tells you, but it also tells you what you can do on your card itself. This here is interesting, the Adventure Atlas, because when you first play it, you're like, ooh, what does the broken bridge do? What does the rainbow bridge do when you land on there? But the fact is, after a while, you know what they do. You don't even need to look these up. But it is nice here. They have every single one in this book. There's also some stuff here at the back. Hey, kids, you want to do a maze or a crossword puzzle? So there's a bit of that inside this game. The components are nice. The miniatures are fine. They're, you know, typical miniatures. And the artwork, though, is where I'm really kind of enamored with this. Every one of these event cards, as far as I know, is different, and the art on them is really well done. Also good quality cards. This is a very nice project. Okay, so let's talk about this. You guys never played the old one, and that's fine. But this is what we call roll and move. Many times we don't play these games, kid games in a sense, because you just roll die and see what happens. Do you feel that that's the way this one is?
Not really.
Kinda?
Like, at least you can manipulate the dice multiple times. Like, I like the fact how they gave you like 2 of each number instead of just 1, so that you could like maybe do the same thing again.
It was very handy, and they also gave you the option to move in whatever direction you wanted, which I thought was really cool.
Sure. So, like there's those boring spaces, but if you land on one,
that's kind of on you.
Yeah, I really feel that way. That being said, do you think there's luck in the game?
Yes.
You can manipulate the luck with the different cards, but sometimes
you can't always do it.
Yeah. You took my bee cannon.
Who took your bee cannon?
You.
That's because I used it better than you did.
You stole it.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the fact that the board opens up and things like that?
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like to like it switch the board. It would be kind of annoying though if you're like right next to a key place and then it's just suddenly decided to open up and now you have to move on to the other side of the board to get back.
You know, I actually didn't tell them that the board opened up. We just started with it being there, and then I opened it to see what your reaction would be.
It was great.
It looked cool. I didn't have any consequences because I wasn't on that side, so yay, go me.
The board looks really cool.
Wait, what
too.
would
You
happen?
still got to go over there.
What would have happened if I was on the board?
Well, then you moved to the whirlpool area. Did you like the theming, the art, and all that?
Oh, it
yeah.
looks amazing. I really like the board. The cards look really cool.
Especially
Characters are
on
nicely done.
On the inside, when it opened up and now there's a bunch of water places. I like that side a lot.
Yeah.
And you can close the board and move around, and sometimes you go to the different spot. Like my favorite one, for some reason, I don't know why, is the odd even one. Even though that one can only be affected by modifier cards that have odd numbers, because if you roll an even and you subtract 2 or add 2 to it, it's still even. There were anything that you liked in particular?
You mean like the ones where you get the keys?
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say. I guess I would just pick the easiest one, the bridge.
The even odd
Some
one.
of them were a little lopsided, like some are easier than the others. Like the even odd bridge.
You think
I would
that's
have to
easier?
yeah, like, I mean,
Well, not if you roll a bunch of even in a row and you have to waste all your cards.
I guess, but you saw how many I got before I had to use a single one.
I think the Death
And then
Mountain.
the other ones, you practically have to use one every single time you do it.
I think the Death Mountain was annoying. Ruby should agree because she failed
Yes.
so many times.
Shut up.
Well, what do you think about the special abilities on the characters?
I forgot about the. I didn't
Yeah,
realize they existed until like halfway through the game.
I mean, they're cool, I guess. I like how they're all different, sort of.
Also, I really think the event cards are a big deal. You get a couple things, like Ruby got the bee cannon, which I then stole from her, but also I got some companions, and you have people like that who can help you. You do a lot better when you go into those final things. But if you take it forever getting all that event stuff, someone might win the game before you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to final thoughts and opinions about what do you think and rating.
I thought the game was pretty good. I liked how you can manipulate the dice. It's a lot easier to manipulate the dice than in other games.
Sure, because you have, what, you start with 8 different cards and you can get more as time goes by.
I really enjoyed it. I thought like the art was cool. I liked how the board opened up. That was neat. I would probably give this like a 7.
All right, and you?
I thought the art looked really cool and how you can manipulate the dice. The characters were really nice looking, and the special abilities were very varied. I like that too. 7.5.
All right, 7.5. So here's the thing, folks. I played this game with adults and with these guys, and I'm telling you, it's not even close. I wasn't sure how much I would like the game after my first play of it with adults because I thought it took too long. But you know what I found? They were just thinking too much. This is a kid's game, really. Or, you know, a game for families. You're just rolling dice, moving around, having fun, grabbing the demon die, although some people don't like the demon die. In our family, everyone wanted the demon die. I'm not quite sure, even though you kept rolling zeros.
I had it through
Okay,
most
that
of
was
the game.
Ruby.
had
I
it through
did
most of the
fine.
game.
Yeah, but everyone wanted the demon die.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it's not like I wanted it. I just felt like
if
having
you did,
it.
if you want, if you were like,
What does that even mean
if you
then?
were at one of the
looked
spots
cool.
where you, like,
Where like a 0 mattered, yes.
if you had to get like a part of the key, I guess a normal die would probably be more helpful.
Well, sometimes
certain
when you're
areas.
rolling a move and you roll a 0, not very useful.
Thanks.
You do it so many times. It's hilarious.
But what I'm saying is, with kids, I found this game to be a blast. So this was just so much more fun. This is not a game to be taken seriously, but it also shows that a roll and write genre, which I think is a tired, boring genre, and is usually filled with bad, terrible games, this one's good. Because again, you can move in any direction. You can land on spots. You can manipulate the dice. You get more ways to manipulate the dice. And you turn over events and they're fun. And your turns are so fast too. The only time a turn is a little bit longer is when someone's trying to go through one of those events. And even that's not boring because you're watching that person hoping they die. Well, unless you're rooting for them, are you?
No.
Not really.
I did not think so. Anyhow, so that's Key to the Kingdom. Again, we're talking about the new one from Restoration Games. The old one is a sign of its time. Restoration Games has made it better. So there you go. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby.
Have fun getting a key.